Yes, we are here at KEXU 96.1 FM in Oakland, California. Welcome. You are back at Poor Magazine, and I'm the Black Cripple with.
We are the poverty scholars, that houseless mama, that houseless daughter. We're the poverty scholars, all the people you don't want to see, never want to be, look away from me. What you gonna do, arrest me? We're in your city. So yeah, bruh, this is PNN, not CNN, and we actually want to start tonight out with a short interview because we're about to lose. So I will actually want to make sure that our comrades from San Jose, the Muecma territory, who are doing some badass work, fighting the Gentry Tech Nation.
Tech out there, yeah, it's all the tech out there in San Jose.
It's all wrong. So we have the powerful young brother Andrew on the line with us from Serve the People, San Jose. Hey, Andrew, what's up?
Hey, we got.
So can you maybe tell listeners and viewers what's going on, what y'all are doing down there? Because I know there's like Gentry Tech Nation is essentially trying to steal land and, you know, do more of their typical colonizing work, and you guys are not giving up. So tell us what's up.
That's true. So, San Jose, like the rest of the Bay Area and baseball around the country, around the world, is going through like a really, really intense process of like displacement, gentrification, and neocolonialism. And so we have like an unhoused person dying on the street every day and a half. And this is within like a 3-minute drive of the 5 richest corporations in human history. So in that context, our city government in San Jose has 19 acres plus of free land. Land big by the deer, what to do with it. So instead of building housing, instead of giving that land to the community when it really needs it, they are trying to sell it to Google to build a mega campus, to bring in 20,000 tech workers without building any housing for any of them, without giving anything to the community. And they know how many people it's going to displace, push out of the city, or push onto the street. So we've had a campaign for over a year making sure this doesn't happen, and things are going to come to a head next Tuesday. Because next Tuesday on December 4th, City Council is going to try to sell this land to Google. And we're going to be there to stop it. We think the vote's going to happen around 2:30, and we're asking everyone who can to come to San Jose City Hall to make sure that they cannot sell off this land.
Wow. So wait a minute, let's just get clear on, you're saying that the city politricksters of San Jose, in an unholy alliance of landlord snaking, are actually essentially quote-unquote selling these 19 acres, is that what you said, to Google?
Yeah, so city council and a bunch of people who are in the pockets of Google have tried to talk about this, but it's been a different people from the very beginning.
Wow.
No, Google's coming, what can we do? But this land this whole time has been owned by the city and the council. So on next Tuesday, they're trying to actually formally sell the land to the company.
Wow.
And speaking for Serve the People, we're going to be doing our campaign against this development no matter who has the title to the land.
That's what's
the
up.
city, the company, whoever, we're going to keep fighting.
And
until we get housing for all the people who need housing in our city.
and let me just ask. Oh, go ahead. And let me just ask you, because I know I don't have much time, but I want to make sure to be clear. In terms of the work of Serve the People, which, by the way, listeners and viewers, is some powerful liberation work and a liberation, self-determined movement of fellow poor folks, working class folks. It just making sure their voices are heard, showing up, doing art in action. But also, if you guys had your own self-determined use of that indigenous territory, what would you all vision as the thing to do with those 19 acres?
Our vision is that land becomes a community land trust, which is an example to exist in many places, including right here in the Bay Area today, which is what a tool that communities can use to make sure that land stays affordable forever, to take land off the market that's never going to be bought, never going to be sold. People are never going to get displaced, so someone else can make up funds. So there's a land trust in Berkeley right now. We need a 3-bedroom home for $1,300 because the land trust is just controlled by the people who live on the land. We know that the community land trust DLTs aren't going to fix every problem in our community, but we can see them as a tool, a real tool. It exists now. And all the city government, what the company needs to do is to get the greedy hands off the land. And we know the people in the community already know the solution. Right? We have the knowledge and we have the organization. We just need to get into action together at times like next week and put the pressure on them, turn up the heat so we can build these solutions. Solutions that could get people off the streets tomorrow.
That's what's up. And we're talking about a city council meeting in San Jose at San Jose City Hall. Do you happen to know the time that begins for folks who might be able to join you?
Yeah, so we think they're going to start talking about this agenda item around 2:30. Of course, they're trying to do it in the middle of the day, so as many working folks as possible are not allowed to be there. But we're going to try to have that keep going as long as we can. So if folks, anytime in the afternoon or into the evening, are able to come down to San Jose, we're trying to do a really powerful action to show them that if they're selling off stuff that people need to survive, they aren't going to be able to do it without a fight. And hopefully, they're going to be able to do it at all.
That's what's up. Woo! All I can say is keep that fight going, because this is the liberation, right? And we got to stop the wealth hoarders and the land stealers and the land occupiers from continuing to move in these colonizing ways like us folks don't even matter. So our hearts and souls are with you. We'll definitely try to get the word out and get some folks from down there to join you. And keep up the powerful work, family.
Thank you.
All right. Much love. And how can people find out more about... Oh, well, we lost him. If people want to know more about Serve the People, you can find them on the Instascam or FaceCrack. Yes, I did say Instascam and FaceCrack. I will not say the names of the corporations that want to get rid of us every day. And yet we also use their digital streets. That's real, as you know what. So, back to this struggle right here in this Ohlone Lashon territory, this village of Huichin. My brother Leroy, do we have on the agenda gentrification report?
Yes, talk about it, honey. What is it?
Well, we wanted to start out today's show talking to the powerful land liberators at Serve the People, because they are doing that work, fighting that gentrification, and want to bring us back to these current streets here. So every week, Poor Magazine gets somewhere, sadly, and this is something to mourn and not be happy about, but every week we get somewhere like 2 to 3 calls from folks. Times they are scam lord specials, as I call them, which means that, you know, the tenants' rights are being trampled on. But in this particular week, the sad news that we have to let listeners and viewers know is that we got 6 calls, and 3 people came to Sliding Scale Cafe, 3 houseless mamas currently dealing with the struggle of being on the street with their children. So I'm holding all that with an extremely heavy heart as we try to build homefulness right now, build mama houses. We get, you know, the water gangsters taking $47,000 to put water boxes in and tells them how much we owe them for the water they think they own. And we still can't even build the houses because of money like that being asked. But what I want to say to houseless families who may be watching or listening, there's a couple things. First of all, in the Bay Area, there's limited resources, but I want to put them out. In the Berkeley, Oakland area, there's Berkeley Oakland Support Services. The acronym is BOSS, BOSS. Look them up on Google. because if nothing else, you can go in there and get into their pipeline. So housing, like anything, is a hustle.
Yeah.
I say this from one poverty scholar to another. It is not a linear trail to get housing. It's a hustle, which means that you have to throw your life, your story, your struggle on the table of the case manglers and the anti-social workers. Yeah, you end up risking the invasion of your soul. I call it a soul invasion instead of a home invasion, because then they start to look at you and your children, and there's questions of CPS that come up, and then they start to get up in your business. But the reality is, it's the only way you can get bits of housing from these politricksters, right?
And also, that's right, honey. And also, you have to push the system.
Exactly.
So you don't just go in there and put your name on the list and wait until they call you back.
Exactly.
You really have to push the system. I got my 6A at least 15, 16 years ago, and I had a letter from Barbara Lee. I had a letter from Tom Bates, the mayor of Brooklyn at the time, and another letter from the housing advocate. So I had 3 letters going into that meeting. So you really have to push the system to make them work for you.
Exactly. And one of the pieces around that whole idea is that this is some poverty scholarship. So people listening and they're like, well, that ain't my problem, then this ain't going out to you. But we know, as fellow poverty scholars, as folks who deal with homelessness ourselves in struggle, that when I talk about it being a hustle, I'm not saying that you're doing a crime to do that. I'm saying that it's a job. It's a J-O-B to get their little crumbs. So understand that. It is not going in and putting one application in. As my brother said, me and Mama never got a roof because we did one move. Okay, when you don't got the paper, the colonizer dollars to pay these exorbitant scam lord rents, then you're doing something else, right? So part of it is hard work. And so I just want to put that out. The next piece about it is that in one of the cases of the sisters who came up to us at Sliding Scale Cafe, which, by the way, we do every Thursday out here on Black Arthur and Deep East Ohlone Lashon land at 8032 Black Arthur, a.k.a. MacArthur, across from the post office. Fresh organic meals, the Poor People's Organic Bakery, where you can take free bread and free fruit, the Poor People's Organic Farm. But I want to say that one of the sisters is in a DV relationship. Now, we all know that we stay in relationships because may that be the only roof we got. I've been there many times. Many times. It's a scary situation when you cannot leave a person who's perpetrating against you just because your roof is tied to that person. What I want to say about that piece is, I get it, and in no way are we advocating that you make a move, that you live some utopic thing, oh, you should go and be homeless anyway. But what I want to say is, continue to make your background moves. So in other words, yeah, do what you got to do to keep that roof over you and your baby's head if you can, if it doesn't kill you. But be making those applications and that other hustle on the side. It's almost like a side job. So the sister I spoke with today, she's looking up Boss. She's going to Homeless Action Center in Berkeley and Oakland. Big shout out to them. She's going to Homeless Prenatal Program in Frisco because, yeah, she's a Frisco resident, a Berkeley resident, and an Oakland resident. What? It's called the Homeless Nation, people. Unhoused Nation. We don't got boundaries and borders like that. We got it wherever we can. Anyway, I want to say that the last piece on that is, and this is a very bizarre piece of it, but it's an internal poverty scholarship tip. If you in those relationships, that doesn't mean that you don't have legal rights to that housing as well. And it's kind of a very difficult and sticky situation. But if that person leaves, which they oftentimes do, because toxic people sometimes leave as well, and you're not on the lease, I want you to know that that does not make you a legal resident of that unit. So one of the cats who came up and spoke to me today her man left. And then the landlord came up and told her, oh, well, now you got to leave. You ain't on the lease. That ain't true. Big shout out. Whether you on the lease or not, if you have lived in a unit over 29 days, you have legal residence. Okay? Now let's get something very clear. That scam lord will not tell you that. They will not legitimize your tenancy. You have to do it yourself. So one of the things that you can do is you can write a letter, again, old school hard mail letter, and an email. Not no, insta scamming, messaging, or that kind of mess, but something that has a record to it. And a text is okay as well, but you got to keep those texts. And you should follow it up with a hard letter that actually states your tenancy in the unit, the amount of time you have been there, and if there has been a financial remuneration. In this case of this sister, she was paying half the rent. That is a legal right to that unit. And that means, again, you have tenants' rights. But you need to lay that out. You need to send that in. And you need to follow it up with a phone call to that landlord, whether they tell you no or not. The reality is, you are establishing and have established your own legal residence. So I need people to hear me on this. Do not be intimidated by the lies that scam lords will tell you every day in PNNKEXU. Because they have made a commodity out of Mother Earth, right? And the way to uncommodify Mother Earth is to take her permanently off the real estate snaking market, which we're doing here at Homefulness. But the reality is, most people are still on that commodity tip. You have legal rights, know them. And if you want more information and you have a specific story and you need some help from this jailhouse lawyer outside of jail without a degree, you can email poormag@gmail.com. That's what we do, the work that we do. This is survival media. They're saying because we trying to pop our collar, or we trying to be bad, or we trying to be rock stars, is because we know that if we don't got each other's back, nobody else will.
Yes, indeed. So give her the call. And I want to talk about, every year, people on SSI get a living increase, So under Obama, we got a dollar increase of SSI. $1. Under Trump, upcoming budget, he doesn't want to get increased at all.
Wow.
So we really gotta look at what's going down in SSI. People are on SSI. So although under Obama we got a $1 increase, 6 and 8 people like myself get an increase of the year. So when Obama was in office and gave us that lovely $1, 6 and 8 increased my rent with $25. And people think, oh, $25 is not a lot. It is a lot when you're on SSI. So since I've been on 6 and 8, I started with 6 and 8 and I paid $120 back in, I think this was 10 years ago. Now my rent is almost $300. And people like, oh, that's not a lot. Yes, it is when you get only about $700 a month.
Wow.
So once again, my rent's gonna go up another $25. I just got the letter in the mail yesterday. It's gonna go up, $35 for 2019.
Wow.
So it's gonna go up to $340 or something like that. So I really want to put that out there that we really have to be looking at this Trump budget that's coming up and what he's gonna do with SSI. People on SSI. But if we don't get that increase, then it's gonna come out of our rent.
So we're gonna take a short music break. We are going to try to get our interview guest, our sister from Washington, D.C., on the line. A powerful poverty scholar who is herself on welfare but also advocates for fellow sisters and brothers on the system crumbs. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.